Welcome, my friend. I want to start today with something that may seem deceptively simple, but it is at the heart of everything you will achieve in your life. Small decisions. Now, I know that you've probably heard this before, but I'm asking you to hear me out because there's a hidden power here. Small decisions are the building blocks of massive transformations. Now, I can almost hear you say, Jim, I want to do something big. I want to create an extraordinary life. And I get it. Everyone wants the big result, the shiny car, the big house, the dream job. But let me tell you a secret. Those big, visible results are built on something far less glamorous. They are built on the invisible daily decisions that no one sees. They are built on what happens when no one is watching, in the quiet moments when it feels like your efforts aren't paying off. The secret is in the small decisions. It's easy to ignore the small things. In a world where we are bombarded with promises of shortcuts and overnight success, it's hard to believe that anything significant could come from those seemingly insignificant daily choices. But let me assure you, this is where the magic happens. Let me give you an example. I want you to think about a fitness goal for a moment. You've probably set one before, right? Whether it was to lose weight, get in shape, or run a marathon. The goal sounds great, but achieving it doesn't happen overnight. And it's not about some grand, heroic effort. It's about the decision to take action, no matter how small it seems at the time. Think about the first time you decide to exercise. It might be as simple as deciding to go for a walk or take the stairs instead of the elevator. It doesn't feel monumental, right? But over time, those small steps compound. Those choices, day in and day out, lead to real, lasting results. Now, multiply that effort over weeks, months, or even years. Those small daily decisions add up. The compound effect, making small choices matter. The truth is, real lasting change doesn't happen in big, dramatic moments. Change happens in the consistency of small actions. Have you ever heard of the compound effect? It's one of the most powerful forces in the universe, and it's the principle that will guide you on this journey of transformation. Let me break this down for you. The compound effect is the idea that small, seemingly insignificant actions, when done consistently, can lead to massive results over time. It's like interest on money. When you first start saving, it feels like you're not getting anywhere. But give it time, and those small deposits begin to grow thanks to interest compounding. The same is true with your actions. The work you put in today will compound tomorrow. Now, don't get discouraged if you don't see results right away. Let me give you a story. There was a man who wanted to lose 100 pounds. At first, he thought about going to the gym every day, doing 2 hours of intense workouts, and cutting out all his favorite foods. That approach worked for a little while, but eventually it became unsustainable. But the real change happened when he shifted his focus. He started with small, simple decisions. He decided to walk 20 minutes every day, drink more water, and slowly reduce his sugar intake. Months went by, and those small decisions started to add up. He wasn't seeing much change initially, but he stuck with it. After 6 months, he had lost 40 pounds. A year later, he was down 80 pounds. And 2 years after that, he hit his 100-pound weight loss goal. It wasn't because of one grand gesture. It was because of small decisions made every single day. The power of consistency over time. In the beginning, it's easy to feel like what you're doing doesn't matter. You wake up early to work out, or you make a healthy meal, and it seems like the effort doesn't amount to much. But here's the thing. Your results are not just about the actions you take today. They are about the actions you take every day, consistently, without fail. Consistency is where the power lies. Think about it. How many people have you seen start a new fitness or diet program only to quit after a few weeks? It's not because they weren't capable of achieving their goals. It's because they didn't stick with it long enough to see the rewards of their small actions adding up. The person who consistently shows up day after day eventually wins the game. Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It's about pushing yourself to keep going when the results aren't visible yet. The person who wins is the person who never quits. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to stay consistent. How small decisions shape your future. I want you to understand the immense power that lies in your daily choices. The direction of your life is shaped by what you do right now. Think of it like a ship heading toward its destination. If the ship's rudder is even just a tiny bit off, it won't be long before it ends up in an entirely different place. It's the same with your life. The small decisions you make each day may seem inconsequential, but over time, they steer your life in a direction you might not even realize. Do you want to end up at a destination of success, health, and fulfillment? Then you need to start making small, positive decisions right now. But be warned, just as small positive decisions lead to success, small negative decisions lead to failure. Take control of your life. Recognize that the future you're walking toward is being shaped by the decisions you make today. And don't underestimate the power of those choices. The role of responsibility in transformation. Now, here's something I want you to grasp before we go any further. The key to making these small decisions work for you is taking full responsibility for your life. If you want to change your life, you have to recognize that you are the one who's in control. Your circumstances, your health, your success, they all depend on the choices you make. Here's where people often go wrong. They look at their situation and blame external factors. If only I had more time, they say. Or, if I just had more money, I could do this. But the reality is, the decisions you make today, no matter your circumstances, are what will determine where you end up tomorrow. When you take responsibility for your choices, you unlock a kind of power that no one can take away from you. You become the architect of your future. The moment you stop blaming others and start taking responsibility, your life begins to shift. You begin to make better decisions, and over time, those decisions lead to lasting transformation. Building your transformation with consistency. The most powerful thing about small decisions is that they build over time. You see, transformation isn't just about one big shift or breakthrough. It's about the tiny, seemingly insignificant decisions that, when compounded, lead to profound change. Let me take you back to a simple habit, getting up early. Imagine you make a decision to wake up 30 minutes earlier each day. Now, 30 minutes doesn't sound like much, does it? It's just a small change. But if you stick with that decision for a year, you'll have added 182.5 extra hours to your year, more than 7 full days of productivity. But it doesn't stop there. You decide to use those extra 30 minutes to read a book, plan your day, or meditate. Over the course of a year, that small daily decision could transform your mind, sharpen your focus, and give you more clarity in your goals. What you're doing here is leveraging the power of time and compounding, making the most of the small moments that add up over time. If you're consistent with these small choices, they will create habits that will start to define your life. So, I encourage you to look at your daily routines, those seemingly small moments, and ask yourself, what am I doing today that's leading me to where I want to be tomorrow? Because every small decision has a ripple effect, leading to something much larger. Embracing the process, trusting the journey. Now, let's take a step back and talk about the process. The biggest mistake many people make when trying to change their lives is expecting instant results. We live in an age of instant gratification. We want to see results immediately, and when we don't, we get discouraged, we stop, we give up. But transformation takes time. It's a process. You can't rush it. Just like you can't plant a seed and expect it to grow into a tree overnight, you can't expect your life to change in a snap. It takes time. But let me tell you something important. You can control the process. Every day, every decision you make is part of the bigger picture. So when it feels like you're not making progress, when the results aren't immediately obvious, don't give up. Trust the journey. Keep planting those seeds. Keep doing the small things every day, and you will see the results eventually. And here's the thing. It's those moments of struggle, those days when it feels like nothing is happening, that are the true test. That's when you must lean in and say, this is part of the process. Embrace it. Because change doesn't happen when it's easy. It happens when it's hard. It happens when you keep showing up, even when the results aren't visible yet. The decision to take action now. A very important element of making small decisions work for you is taking action. Many people fall into the trap of waiting for the perfect moment to begin their journey. They think, once I have enough time, money, or energy, then I'll get started. But the reality is, there will never be a perfect moment. The key is to start now, with what you have. It's not about waiting for the stars to align. It's about taking the first step, no matter how small. When you do this, you're making a decision to step out of your comfort zone and into the unknown. The sooner you start, the sooner you begin the process of transformation. Here's something I want you to really understand. Action is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. Without it, you'll remain stuck. It doesn't matter how great your goals are or how much potential you have. Without action, nothing will change. So today, right now, make a decision to act. Do something small, but do something. It could be writing down your goals, making a phone call, taking a walk, or signing up for that course you've been thinking about. Whatever it is, just take action. Understanding the consequences of inaction. Now, let's take a moment to talk about something that's just as important as taking action: inaction. You see, when you decide not to make a choice, you're still making a choice. And that choice, in the long run, has consequences. Take a moment and think about your current situation. Are there areas of your life where you've been avoiding decisions? Maybe it's your career, your health, or your finances. You're not making progress, but you're also not making things worse. It's a gray area, and it feels safe. But here's the truth. Inaction leads to stagnation. If you don't make the small changes today, you'll still be in the same place 6 months from now. That's the danger of inaction. It keeps you stuck, unaware of how much time you've wasted. But here's the good news. Instead of letting inaction rob you of time, you can start taking small steps right now to get unstuck. Taking ownership of your life. Finally, let's talk about ownership. If you want to transform your life, you need to take full ownership of your decisions. The good, the bad, and everything in between. When you take responsibility for your actions, you take control of your future. Here's the thing. No one else is responsible for your life but you. No one else can make your decisions. It's easy to blame external factors, your job, your upbringing, the economy. But the truth is, you are the creator of your own destiny. The decisions you make today, no matter how small, will determine the direction of your life. So don't wait for someone else to make your life better. Don't wait for a magical moment to show up. Take responsibility. Own your decisions. Make the small choices that will lead to big change. And know this, you are in control of your transformation. No one else. Only you. Your challenge, small choices, big results. As we wrap up this chapter, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next week, I want you to focus on making small decisions every day that lead you towards your goals. These decisions don't have to be grand gestures. In fact, the smaller, the better. You don't need to reinvent your entire life. You just need to focus on making better decisions consistently over time. Ask yourself every day, what small decision can I make today that will move me closer to my goals? Whether it's choosing to eat healthier, exercise, or wake up 30 minutes earlier, whatever it is, make it happen. Trust the process, and soon you'll see the compounding effect of those small decisions working in your favor. Remember, transformation is a journey, not a destination. It begins with the smallest of decisions. And as you keep making the right choices day after day, you'll look back in 6 months and be amazed at how far you've come. So start now. The art of goal setting and clarity. In the first chapter, We talked about how small decisions made consistently can lead to significant changes. But my friend, let me tell you something. Without clear goals, those small decisions will be like a ship drifting without a destination. Goals give you direction. They give you something to aim for, and they provide the fuel that drives you forward when things get tough. You see, goal setting is not just about creating a to-do list or having a vague dream about success. It's about setting specific, measurable, and meaningful goals that you can actually achieve. It's about clarity, knowing exactly where you want to go, how you'll get there, and why it matters to you. In this chapter, we're going to break down the art of goal setting, and I'll walk you through how to create goals that inspire and guide you. We'll dive into the importance of clarity, how to align your goals with your deepest desires, and how to make your goals so clear and compelling that you have no choice but to go after them with everything you've got. The power of clarity. Before we dive into the specifics of goal setting, let's talk about clarity, the foundation of everything we'll discuss. You see, having a goal is not enough. Many people set goals that sound great on paper, but without clarity, those goals remain elusive and unachievable. So, what do I mean by clarity? Clarity is about understanding exactly what you want, why you want it, and how you're going to get there. It's not enough to say, I want to be successful, or I want to lose weight. Those are vague statements that don't give you a clear path to follow. Clarity comes when you take the time to define your goals in specific terms. For example, I want to lose 20 pounds in the next 6 months is a goal that's specific, measurable, and actionable. It gives you something concrete to work towards, and that clarity helps guide your decisions every day. The importance of defining your why. Now, let's get even deeper into this. Why do you want to achieve these goals? What is the driving force behind them? The truth is, without a strong why, your goals won't carry the emotional weight necessary to push you through tough times. Let me share a story with you. There was a man who wanted to start his own business, but he wasn't really clear on why he wanted to do it. He thought it was just about money. Everyone around him was chasing wealth, so he thought he should do the same. But when things got tough, when the initial excitement wore off, and when challenges arose, he found it difficult to keep going. The passion faded. On the other hand, a friend of his started a business for a very different reason. His goal was to create something that could positively impact his community, provide jobs, and contribute to something bigger than himself. Every time he faced adversity, his why kept him going. His clarity about the purpose behind his business fueled his persistence. So, let me ask you, why do you want what you want? Is it about more than just money? Is it about freedom, helping others, personal growth? The more deeply you understand your why, the more power you will have to stay focused and motivated. The SMART goal framework. Once you've found your clarity and defined your why, it's time to get practical. This is where the SMART goal framework comes into play. If you've never heard of it before, let me break it down for you. SMART stands for specific. Your goal should be clear and well-defined. Measurable. You need to be able to track your progress. How will you know when you've reached your goal? Achievable. Your goal should be realistic and attainable. It should challenge you, but not be so far out of reach that it discourages you. Relevant. Your goal should matter to you, aligning with your values and purpose. Time-bound. Set a clear time frame for achieving your goal. Without a deadline, there's no sense of urgency. Let's say your goal is to get fit. If you use the SMART framework, your goal might look something like this. I will lose 20 pounds in the next 6 months by exercising for 30 minutes, 5 days a week, and cutting out junk food from my diet. This goal is specific, measurable, 20 pounds, achievable, a realistic weight loss goal for 6 months. Relevant, it aligns with your health goals, and time-bound. You've set a 6-month time frame. Using the SMART framework ensures that you set goals that are grounded in reality, with a clear plan for how to achieve them. And more importantly, it helps you avoid the trap of vague, wishy-washy goals that lead nowhere. breaking goals down into actionable steps. Now that you have your clear goal, it's time to break it down into smaller, actionable steps. Too many people make the mistake of thinking that if they set a big goal, the work will magically get done. But the truth is, a goal is just a starting point. It's the actions you take that turn that goal into reality. Take the fitness goal we mentioned earlier. Lose 20 pounds in 6 months is a great goal, but it's still pretty broad. The key is to break it down into smaller, manageable tasks. For example, week 1 to 2, begin tracking your food intake using an app. Week 3 to 4, start exercising for 30 minutes 3 times a week. Month 2, increase exercise to 5 days a week, with a combination of cardio and strength training. Month 3, add 10 minutes of exercise to your daily routine and start meal prepping. By breaking your goal into smaller, more manageable tasks, you make it easier to take consistent action. Each step should feel achievable. And when you reach those small milestones, you'll gain momentum that will drive you toward your bigger goal. The power of visualization. One more tool I want to share with you is visualization. It may sound a bit out there, but hear me out. Visualization is the practice of imagining yourself achieving your goals. It's about picturing the end result in vivid detail, engaging all your senses, and feeling the emotions associated with your success. Let's go back to our fitness goal. Take a moment to close your eyes and imagine yourself 6 months from now. See yourself in the mirror, looking fit and healthy. Feel the pride and joy that comes with achieving your goal. Imagine the sense of accomplishment. Now, here's the thing. When you regularly visualize your success, you start to believe it's possible. That belief makes it easier to stay committed and take the necessary steps. Visualization is like creating a mental blueprint for your success. The more you visualize your goal, the more motivated you become, and the more likely you are to take consistent action toward making it a reality. The importance of accountability. Lastly, I want to talk about accountability. You see, it's one thing to set a goal for yourself, but it's another thing entirely to have someone who holds you accountable to that goal. Accountability partners help keep you on track, give you a push when you feel like giving up, and provide support when the road gets tough. Find someone, whether it's a friend, a mentor, or even a coach who will check in with you regularly to make sure you're staying on track. Tell them about your goals and ask them to hold you accountable. When you have someone to answer to, you're more likely to stay focused and committed to your goal. Your next steps: start setting clear goals. By now, you should have a better understanding of how to set clear, actionable goals. But the most important thing is this: take action now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The best time to set a goal and take action is today. As you continue on this journey of transformation, I encourage you to go through the SMART framework, define your why, and break your goals into actionable steps. And remember, consistency is key. You'll face setbacks, but as long as you keep your goals clear and stay focused, you'll make progress. Overcoming obstacles, staying on track with your goals. At this point, you might be feeling motivated and ready to take on the world. You've set your goals, defined your why, and broken everything down into actionable steps. But let me tell you something. Life happens. Things won't always go according to plan. Obstacles will arise, and sometimes they'll feel like they're standing in the way of everything you've worked for. Here's the truth. Obstacles are part of the process. Every person who has ever achieved anything worthwhile has faced challenges. The difference between success and failure isn't whether or not you face obstacles. It's about how you respond when they arise. Let me share a quick story. There was a woman named Sarah who set a goal to run her first marathon. She followed the plan, trained hard, and was feeling great until a month before the race, she injured her leg. Now, most people would have been devastated, and rightfully so. Sarah was upset, but she didn't let the injury stop her. She adjusted her training, focused on rehabilitation, and set a new goal to finish the marathon without rushing. She didn't give up, even when it felt like everything was against her. What Sarah teaches us is this: obstacles don't define us. Our responses to them do. You're going to encounter setbacks. You might have a day when you don't feel like working on your goal. But don't let that small slip-up turn into a reason to quit. The key is staying flexible and adjusting your plan when necessary. Sometimes, obstacles are the universe's way of nudging you to go in a slightly different direction to reach your goals. Turning setbacks into stepping stones. One of the most powerful shifts you can make in your journey toward goal achievement is to reframe setbacks. Instead of seeing setbacks as failures, start viewing them as opportunities to learn and grow. Let me give you an example. Years ago, there was a man named Thomas Edison who tried hundreds of different ways to invent the light bulb. When his efforts failed time and time again, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison didn't look at those setbacks as failures. He used each one as a stepping stone on his way to eventual success. So when you hit an obstacle, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I adjust my approach to move forward, even if it's in a slightly different direction? Reframing setbacks in this way helps you stay resilient and keep your momentum going, even when the road is tough. Remember, persistence is not about never facing obstacles. It's about pushing through them. It's about staying committed to your vision, even when things don't go as planned. Reinforcing your commitment, the power of daily action. At this stage, we need to talk about the importance of daily action. It doesn't matter how big or small your goals are. What truly matters is that you take action every single day. Small, consistent actions, day after day, will compound and move you closer to your ultimate goal. You see, motivation is often fleeting. You'll wake up some mornings feeling motivated, ready to tackle the world. But on other mornings, you'll wake up feeling tired, distracted, or discouraged. This is when discipline and habit will save you. Discipline is simply doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. And how do you build discipline? Through small, consistent actions that become habits. For example, if your goal is to write a book, you don't wait until you feel inspired to write. You sit down every day and write, even if it's just for 30 minutes. Over time, this small action compounds. Eventually, you'll look up and realize you've completed your first chapter, then your second, and so on. Creating habits that support your goals. The real key to staying consistent is habit formation. Habits are the automatic behaviors that help you achieve your goals without needing to think about it too much. When a habit is formed, it becomes part of your routine. You don't need to rely on motivation or willpower anymore. You just do it. One of the best strategies for building habits is called habit stacking. Here's how it works. You take an existing habit that's already part of your routine and you stack a new habit onto it. For example, if you already have a morning routine where you make coffee, you can stack a new habit like meditation or stretching onto that habit. The act of making coffee triggers the new behavior, helping you create consistency. The more you do something, the easier it becomes, and soon it becomes second nature. Over time, your habits will carry you through when motivation fades. Tracking your progress, measuring success. Now let's talk about the importance of tracking your progress. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results, but when you track your progress, you're able to see how far you've come, which provides a sense of accomplishment and motivates you to keep going. There are many ways to track progress. Journaling, keeping a checklist, using apps, or simply marking off milestones as you go. The key is to find a method that works for you and stick with it. Whether you're tracking your weight loss, business growth, or personal development, keeping a record gives you tangible evidence of your progress. When you look back on your progress, even the small steps, it gives you confidence. You begin to realize that the big change you're working toward is not so far off. It's happening every day, bit by bit. The role of accountability. There's something else that can really accelerate your success, and that's accountability. As I mentioned earlier, having someone, whether it's a friend, mentor, or coach, who holds you accountable to your goals is invaluable. But accountability doesn't just keep you on track. It makes your goals more real. When you tell someone about your goal, you create a sense of obligation. It's not just something you're doing for yourself anymore. It's something you're doing for others. When you know someone is checking in on your progress, it can give you the extra motivation you need to stay consistent. Consider setting up a regular check-in with someone who can keep you accountable. Share your goals with them and ask them to hold you responsible for your progress. This external pressure can help you stay committed, especially when your motivation wavers. Visualization, a powerful tool. As we continue down this path of goal setting, one tool that should never be underestimated is visualization. I'm not talking about simple daydreaming. Visualization is a mental rehearsal of your success. You see yourself achieving your goals in vivid detail. Your heart races as you picture crossing the finish line, receiving that promotion, or holding your finished project in your hands. Visualization is a practice used by top athletes, entrepreneurs, and high achievers. The act of vividly imagining success helps condition your mind to believe it's possible. It prepares you to step into the life you want to create. Take a few minutes every day to close your eyes and visualize your success. Imagine the steps you've taken to get there. Feel the pride, joy, and sense of accomplishment that comes with achieving your goal. This practice will reinforce your commitment and keep you inspired to continue working towards your goal. Reflection and adaptation. And here's the last key. Adaptation. Setting goals isn't a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process. As you go, you will learn, adapt, and grow. Some goals may change or evolve. That's okay. What matters is that you keep reflecting on your journey and adapting your approach as needed. The road to success isn't a straight line. It's full of twists and turns. But if you stay flexible and open to learning, you'll keep making progress. Your next steps: action, consistency, and commitment. Now that you have a solid understanding of how to set goals, make them clear, break them down into actionable steps, and stay accountable, it's time for you to take action. Go through the SMART framework once again. Define your goals and start breaking them down into small steps you can take every day. Stay committed, stay consistent, and always remember, your goals are the map to your future. Keep your eyes on the prize and never lose sight of why you started. This journey will require patience, persistence, and flexibility. But with clear goals and a structured plan, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Building the mindset of a winner. Let me tell you something, my friend. The most important factor in achieving success is your mindset. It's not your circumstances, your education, or even your resources that will determine whether you succeed or fail. It's how you think and approach the world. Success is built in the mind first. It begins with the thoughts you think, the beliefs you hold, and the attitudes you carry with you. That's why one of the most powerful changes you can make on this journey of transformation is to change your mindset. When you change your mindset, you change everything. You start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to believe that success is within reach, even when the road gets tough. And most importantly, you develop the resilience to keep going, even when you encounter failure and setbacks. The fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. Let's start by talking about the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, two terms that have been popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck. A fixed mindset is when you believe that your abilities, intelligence, and talents are fixed. People with a fixed mindset believe that you're either born with something or you're not. If you're not good at something, you think it's just part of who you are, and you'll never improve. On the other hand, a growth mindset is the belief that your abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, and perseverance. People with a growth mindset understand that challenges are part of the process of growing, and they see failures as opportunities to learn rather than signs of incompetence. So let me ask you, which mindset do you have? Do you see obstacles as roadblocks or opportunities? Do you view failure as a reflection of who you are or as a chance to learn and grow? If you have a fixed mindset, it's time to shift that thinking. You are not bound by your past mistakes or limitations. With effort, persistence, and the right attitude, you can grow and achieve greatness. The growth mindset is one of the most powerful shifts you can make on your path to success. The power of self-belief. When it comes to achieving your goals, belief in yourself is everything. If you don't believe that you can achieve what you set out to do, then you'll never make it. But here's the thing. Belief isn't about being arrogant or thinking you're invincible. It's about having confidence in your ability to learn, adapt, and keep moving forward, even when things don't go according to plan. Let me give you an example. Thomas Edison, who we mentioned earlier in the book, believed in his own ability to create the light bulb. But it wasn't because he was always sure of his success. He faced many failures. What made Edison a true winner was his resilience and his unshakable belief that he could find a way to make it work. He didn't give up after the first, second, or even 10th failure. His belief in himself and his purpose kept him going. You see, self-belief is the engine that drives perseverance. Without it, you'll give up at the first sign of failure. With it, you'll keep pushing forward, no matter how tough things get. But how do you develop that belief? It starts with acknowledging that you are capable of growth. You've already taken the first step by reading this book. That's a decision that reflects a willingness to improve. Start small. When you accomplish something, even if it's a small victory, celebrate it. Each time you succeed, you strengthen your belief in yourself. Overcoming fear and doubt. Fear and doubt are two of the biggest obstacles to success. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of making mistakes, these are all mental barriers that can hold you back from reaching your full potential. But here's the truth. Fear is normal. Every successful person has faced fear and doubt. It's part of the journey. What separates those who succeed from those who don't is how they handle their fear. You see, fear is often a sign that you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, and that's a good thing. It means you're growing. So instead of running from your fears, you need to face them head on. Feel the fear and do it anyway. For example, if you're afraid of speaking in public, it's easy to avoid it. But the more you avoid it, the more that fear controls you. On the other hand, if you step up to the plate and take the opportunity to speak in front of a group, even if your hands are shaking, that fear starts to lose its grip over you. With each step you take in the face of fear, you build confidence and mental toughness. Another way to deal with fear is to reframe it. Instead of seeing fear as a sign that you shouldn't take action, view it as a signal that you're on the right path. Fear means you're pushing yourself beyond what's comfortable, and that's exactly what you need to do to grow. The power of resilience. Bouncing back from setbacks. Now, I want to talk about one of the most important aspects of the winner's mindset. Resilience. The road to success is never smooth. There will be setbacks. There will be disappointments. There will be days when you feel like throwing in the towel. But resilience is what keeps you going when everyone else quits. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. It's the mental toughness to keep going when things don't go according to plan. It's about understanding that failure is not the end of the road, but a necessary part of the journey. Let me share another story with you. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, was rejected by 12 publishers before finally being accepted by one. Can you imagine how discouraging that must have been? But Rowling didn't let the rejections define her. She kept writing, she kept submitting, and in the end, she became one of the most successful authors in the world. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to experience the same level of rejection, But I am saying this: setbacks are inevitable. The question is, what will you do when you face them? Will you quit or will you keep going? The most successful people in the world are not those who avoid failure. They are the ones who embrace it as part of the process and continue to move forward despite it. Building mental toughness. So, how do you build resilience and mental toughness? It starts with embracing discomfort. The truth is, nothing great ever came from staying comfortable. You have to be willing to push yourself beyond your limits. One of the most powerful ways to build mental toughness is through deliberate practice, doing something challenging over and over until it becomes second nature. Think about athletes who push their bodies to the limit, or entrepreneurs who stay up late working on their businesses. They do it because they know that growth only happens when you stretch yourself. Another way to build mental toughness is to control your environment. Surround yourself with people who support your growth, who challenge you to do better, and who push you when you want to give up. A strong support system can be one of the most important factors in developing the mindset of a winner. The winner's mindset, staying focused on the big picture. Finally, let's talk about the importance of staying focused on the bigger picture. A winner's mindset isn't about seeking instant gratification. It's about knowing that success takes time and persistence. A winner keeps their eyes on the long-term goal, even when the short-term rewards aren't obvious. They understand that the small daily actions will add up over time, and they stay consistent, no matter how small the progress might seem. If you want to develop a winner's mindset, you have to remind yourself daily of the bigger picture. Ask yourself, what am I working toward? Why is it important to me? Keep that vision clear in your mind and use it as a source of motivation when things get tough. Your next steps: cultivating a growth mindset. As we wrap up this chapter, I want you to take action. Start by adopting the growth mindset. Recognize that every failure, every setback, and every obstacle is an opportunity for growth. Train your mind to embrace challenges, to see fear as a signal that you're on the right track, and to stay focused on the long-term goal. Remember, the most important ingredient in your success is your mindset. Change how you think, and you will change how you act. And when you change how you act, you change the results you get in your life. So, embrace the mindset of a winner and get ready for the transformation that will follow. You know, if there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's that success doesn't come from big, dramatic actions. It comes from consistent, small habits that you do every single day. Most people want to skip over this step, looking for the next big thing that will give them an overnight transformation. But the truth is, long-term success is built on the foundation of simple, repeatable habits. Think about it. The person who works out every morning, even for just 20 minutes, will eventually be healthier and fitter than someone who goes to the gym for 3 hours once a week. The person who writes 500 words a day will finish that book long before someone who writes in bursts of inspiration. Success is not about huge leaps forward. It's about small, consistent steps. In this chapter, we're going to break down how to build good habits that stick, how to break bad ones, and how to use the power of repetition to create lasting change in your life. Why habits matter. The power of consistency. Let's start by talking about why habits matter. You may have heard the saying, "We are what we repeatedly do." It's true. The actions you take every day shape your identity, your health, your finances, and your relationships. If you have habits of working out, eating healthy, and reading, those small actions over time shape a fit, healthy, and knowledgeable person. On the other hand, if your habits involve procrastination, eating junk food, and wasting time, those small choices will compound into negative outcomes. So let me ask you, what kind of person do you want to become? The best way to shape your future self is to begin with the habits you form today. Good habits become part of who you are. They define your character, and they define your results. The science of habit formation. Now let's get a little scientific for a moment. Understanding how habits form can help you hack the system and make them work for you. Habits are essentially automatic behaviors that your brain has developed to save energy. Instead of consciously thinking about every action you take, your brain automates the process, making it easier to do things without using up mental energy. Every habit goes through 3 stages, which are known as a habit loop. Cue. This is the trigger that starts the habit. It can be an emotion, a time of day, a situation, or even a place. For example, the cue could be waking up in the morning. Routine. This is the action or behavior you take in response to the cue. For instance, if you're trying to form the habit of exercise, the routine might be getting dressed in workout clothes and going for a run. Reward. This is the positive feedback you get after completing the routine. It could be the rush of endorphins after exercising, or the sense of accomplishment you feel after completing a task. The key to building new habits is to create a new cue routine reward loop that supports the behavior you want. For example, if you want to create the habit of reading every day, you might use this habit loop. Cue, you finish dinner. Routine, you read for 10 minutes. Reward, the satisfaction of learning something new, or the relaxation from taking time away from screens. The more you repeat this loop, the stronger the habit becomes, until it becomes automatic. Now that we understand how habits are formed, let's talk about how to build habits that stick. Here's the step-by-step process. Start small. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to build new habits is trying to do too much too soon. You want to make sure the habit is small enough to be sustainable. If your goal is to start exercising, don't aim for an hour at the gym right away. Start with a short 10-minute workout or a quick walk around the block. Small habits are more likely to stick than big, overwhelming ones. Make it obvious. You need to make your new habit visible and easy to do. For example, if you want to eat healthier, you might start by placing fruits and vegetables at the front of your fridge so they're the first thing you see. The more you can make the new habit convenient, the more likely you are to stick to it. Tie it to an existing habit. As I mentioned earlier, habit stacking is one of the best ways to build a new habit. Find something you already do every day and add the new habit right after. For example, if you already drink a cup of coffee every morning, stack a new habit on top of that, like doing 5 minutes of stretching. The coffee serves as your cue, and the stretching becomes the routine. Track your progress. There's something incredibly motivating about seeing your progress. Whether you use a journal, a habit tracker app, or a simple calendar, tracking helps you stay accountable and builds momentum. If you're trying to develop the habit of exercising, mark off each day you do it and watch how your consistency builds over time. Celebrate small wins. Every time you complete a habit, no matter how small, give yourself a reward. This reinforces the positive feedback loop and makes you more likely to repeat the behavior. Your reward could be as simple as acknowledging your success or taking a moment to appreciate your effort. Breaking bad habits, the flip side of the coin. Just as important as building good habits is breaking bad ones. And I'll tell you right now, this is one of the hardest parts of transformation. But it's possible, and it starts with understanding that bad habits aren't something that define you. They're just patterns of behavior that can be changed. Here's how you can break a bad habit. Identify the cue. Just like with building good habits, the first step is to figure out what triggers your bad habit. Do you eat junk food when you're stressed? Do you procrastinate when you feel overwhelmed? By identifying the cue, you can interrupt the habit loop before it starts. Make the bad habit harder to do. One of the easiest ways to break a bad habit is to remove the triggers and make it inconvenient. For example, if you want to stop snacking on unhealthy foods, stop buying them. If you want to break the habit of watching too much TV, remove the remote from the room. Make it as difficult as possible to engage in the bad habit. Replace the bad habit with a good one. You can't just eliminate a habit, you need to replace it with something better. For example, if you're trying to stop smoking, replace it with deep breathing exercises or chewing gum. If you're trying to stop scrolling endlessly on social media, replace it with reading or writing in a journal. The key is to replace the bad habit with a new healthy routine. Be patient and persistent. Breaking habits takes time. You won't change overnight, and you may slip up along the way. The key is to keep going even after a setback. The more you stay consistent with your new habit, the easier it becomes. The power of environment in habit formation. One of the most powerful tools you can use to make habits stick is your environment. You see, the people and things around you have a huge influence on your behavior. If you want to build good habits, surround yourself with things and people that support your success. For example, if you want to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with healthy foods and remove the junk. If you want to exercise, create an environment that makes it easier to work out, whether that means setting up a gym at home or joining a fitness community. When your environment is aligned with your goals, it becomes much easier to form and stick to good habits. Tracking, patience, and persistence. We've covered a lot about building habits, but the most important thing to remember is that habits take time. It's going to feel challenging at first, and you'll have days when you want to give up. But here's the truth. The more consistent you are, the more effortless your habits will become. The key is persistence. Even on the days when you don't feel like it, keep going. Build momentum. Tracking your habits will help you stay consistent. Each small step you take brings you closer to your ultimate goal. Over time, your habits will become second nature. And before you know it, you'll look back and be amazed at how much you've accomplished. Your next steps. Start small, stay consistent. As you move forward, I encourage you to start by picking just one habit you want to build or break. Keep it small, make it specific, and stick to it every day. Remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight, but small actions, compounded over time, will lead to extraordinary results. Now, go out there and make your habits work for you. You have the power to create the life you want, one habit at a time. Staying consistent and overcoming obstacles. As we near the end of this journey, I want to talk about something that will make or break your success. Consistency. If you want to achieve your goals and create lasting change in your life, consistency is the key that unlocks everything. But here's the hard truth. Consistency is not always glamorous. It's the daily, often mundane actions that lead to the extraordinary results. It's the small, seemingly insignificant decisions that you make day in and day out that add up over time. In this chapter, we'll break down how to stay consistent in your pursuit of success, even when it's tough. We'll also discuss how to face the inevitable obstacles that will arise along the way, and how to keep moving forward, even when the path gets difficult. The power of consistency. If there's one thing that separates those who succeed from those who don't, it's consistency. The most successful people are not the ones who make a huge leap one day and then disappear the next. It's the people who show up day after day with discipline, focus, and a commitment to their goals. Think about a compounding effect for a moment. Let's say you put a small amount of money into an investment every month. If you only made one large deposit, you'd see some return. But if you made regular, consistent deposits over time, your investment would grow exponentially. The same principle applies to your goals. The small, consistent actions you take every day will compound into something powerful. It's easy to get excited in the beginning of a journey, but the true test comes when the excitement fades and you're left with the daily grind. That's when discipline and consistency become your best friends. The most successful people aren't the ones who have the best ideas. They're the ones who keep going when everyone else gives up. Building momentum through consistency. You may have heard the term momentum before, but let's talk about how it plays a role in your success. Momentum is like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but as it moves, it gains speed and strength. And just like that snowball, your consistent efforts will start small, but as you keep going, you'll build momentum that drives you to even greater heights. One of the hardest things about starting a new habit or working toward a new goal is the initial resistance. At the beginning, you're fighting against inertia. You're not yet in the rhythm, and it feels like the effort you put in doesn't result in immediate rewards. But here's the thing. If you keep showing up, even when you don't see the immediate payoff, momentum will kick in. The more consistent you are with your actions, the easier it becomes to stay consistent. It's like learning to ride a bike. At first, it's awkward and difficult, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes second nature. As you build momentum in your habits, you'll find that staying on track becomes easier and easier. Now, let's address the inevitable. No journey to success is without its obstacles. And if you're waiting for a smooth path, let me prepare you for the truth. It's not going to happen. Obstacles are a part of the process. Whether it's an unexpected setback, a period of burnout, or an external circumstance beyond your control, obstacles will come. But here's the good news. Obstacles don't have to stop you. They can be the very thing that strengthens you and makes your success even sweeter. The key to overcoming obstacles is in how you respond to them. You can choose to view obstacles as roadblocks or as opportunities to grow stronger and smarter. The choice is yours. How to overcome obstacles? The mindset shift. The first step in overcoming any obstacle is adopting the right mindset. Rather than seeing obstacles as reasons to quit, start seeing them as challenges to overcome. When you hit a roadblock, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I adapt and keep moving forward? For example, let's say your goal is to lose weight. Then you encounter a week where you fall off track. Instead of beating yourself up, take a step back and reflect on what happened. Were you overwhelmed with work? Did you have emotional stress? Instead of allowing that to derail your progress, use it as a learning experience. What can you do differently next time to stay on track? One of the most powerful mindsets you can develop is resilience. Resilience means bouncing back after setbacks and using those setbacks as learning opportunities. It's about continuing to move forward, no matter how many times you fall. The more resilient you become, the less fear you'll have about facing obstacles, because you'll know that you have the ability to overcome them. Practical strategies for staying consistent. Let's dive into some practical strategies that will help you stay consistent, especially when the going gets tough. Create a routine. Having a daily routine is one of the most powerful ways to ensure consistency. Routines take the guesswork out of your day and make it easier to stay on track. When you have a set schedule, your actions become automatic, and you don't have to think about whether or not you'll show up for your goal. Break it down into smaller tasks. One of the main reasons people quit is because their goals feel overwhelming. But if you break your goal down into smaller, manageable tasks, it becomes much easier to stay consistent. Focus on the next step, not the entire mountain. Celebrate each small win along the way. Use reminders and triggers. Set up reminders or triggers in your environment to prompt you to take action. For example, if you're trying to build the habit of drinking more water, place a water bottle on your desk or next to your bed as a visual cue to drink more frequently. These simple triggers help you stay consistent without having to constantly remind yourself. Accountability partners. As we talked about earlier, having someone to hold you accountable can keep you on track when motivation dips. Whether it's a friend, family member, or mentor, having someone who checks in on your progress helps keep you accountable and committed. Focus on the process, not just the outcome. It's easy to get discouraged when you're not seeing immediate results. But when you focus on the process, the actions you take every day, you'll start to enjoy the journey. Celebrate the small victories of sticking to your plan, and the bigger results will come naturally. Dealing with burnout. How to keep going. Even the most consistent people experience burnout at some point. You may feel exhausted, unmotivated, or overwhelmed, especially if you've been working tirelessly towards your goal. Burnout is real, but it doesn't have to derail your progress. Here's how to deal with burnout. Take breaks. Sometimes the best way to get back on track is to give yourself permission to rest. You can't pour from an empty cup. Rest and recovery are just as important as hard work. Take time off to recharge and then come back with renewed energy. Adjust your approach. If you're feeling burned out, it might be because your approach isn't sustainable. Reevaluate your plan and ask yourself, what can I do differently to make this process easier or more enjoyable? Don't be afraid to adjust your goals or break them down into even smaller tasks. Focus on your why. Reconnect with your deeper motivation. Why did you set this goal in the first place? Focusing on your purpose can reignite your passion and remind you of why you started this journey. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Too many people get discouraged because they feel they're not making progress fast enough. But progress is progress, no matter how small. Celebrate your wins, even if they seem minor, and recognize that every step forward is a step closer to your goal. The finish line. Keep going until you reach it. Consistency isn't just about staying on track when things are easy. It's about keeping your eyes on the finish line, even when obstacles pop up. It's about showing up day after day, no matter how hard it gets. And it's about realizing that the journey itself is as valuable as the destination. Every time you overcome an obstacle, you're building resilience. Every time you stay consistent, you're reinforcing your ability to succeed. You're not just working toward a goal, you're becoming the kind of person who doesn't quit, no matter what. Your next steps: stay consistent, overcome obstacles. As we close this chapter, leave you with a few final thoughts. Consistency is everything. When the path gets tough, remember that your daily habits and the way you respond to obstacles will determine your success. Stick to your process, stay focused on your why, and keep showing up. If you're committed to staying consistent, nothing can stop you. The road to success isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. Keep pushing forward, even when you face setbacks. The person who keeps going is the one who will eventually reach the top. The importance of patience on the journey. At this point, you've already learned the fundamentals of goal setting, the power of mindset, and how to build and reinforce consistent habits. But there's one more thing I need you to fully embrace if you want lasting success: patience. Success rarely happens overnight. Even the most successful individuals have faced years of setbacks, struggles, and failures. The difference is they didn't let time discourage them. They understood that time is a critical ingredient to mastering any craft, achieving long-term goals, and creating the life they desired. You see, patience isn't about waiting around passively for things to happen. It's about trusting the process, even when the results aren't immediately visible. It's understanding that growth happens in phases. At first, your efforts may seem small, incremental, and even invisible. But over time, if you stay consistent, they compound. The seeds you plant today will bloom tomorrow. This concept is crucial to grasp, especially when you're working towards something big. You will have days where you feel like you're not making progress. You might even have days where you feel like you've taken 2 steps back. But here's the thing: patience and persistence are the foundations upon which success is built. The more patient you are with your journey, the more powerful your eventual results will be. Reframing failure as feedback. As you continue along the path to achieving your goals, you will inevitably face failure. But here's a mindset shift I want you to adopt. Failure is not a setback, it's feedback. In our society, failure often carries a negative connotation. People fear it, avoid it, and feel discouraged by it. But failure is an essential part of the learning process. Every failure holds valuable lessons that help you grow, improve, and adjust your approach. Walt Disney, who needs no introduction, faced rejection over and over. One famous example is how he was fired from the Kansas City Star for lacking imagination and having no good ideas. Can you imagine that? The person who created Mickey Mouse was once told he wasn't imaginative enough. But did that stop him? No. He took that rejection and used it as motivation. He kept going, kept innovating, and kept failing until he succeeded. So, I want you to stop fearing failure. Instead, when you fail, and you will, because we all do, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I adjust my approach next time? What do I need to improve? The most successful people fail the most. They just don't let failure stop them. They let it fuel their growth. The importance of self-compassion and avoiding perfectionism. As we focus on staying consistent and pushing through obstacles, I also want to talk about the importance of self-compassion. Often, when we set big goals and commit to change, we become our harshest critics. We expect ourselves to be perfect, and when we inevitably make a mistake or fall off track, we can become discouraged and give up altogether. But here's the thing. You are human. Perfection is an illusion. And in this journey of transformation, self-compassion is one of the most powerful tools you have at your disposal. It's okay to stumble. It's okay to have off days. What matters is that you treat yourself with kindness when you do. When you treat yourself with compassion, you're able to bounce back from setbacks much more quickly. Instead of spiraling into guilt or shame, you acknowledge the setback, learn from it, and move forward. Think about it. If a close friend was going through a tough time, would you criticize them harshly, or would you encourage them to keep going? You'd do the same for yourself. Be kind to yourself. Building a support system, the power of community. No one achieves great things in isolation. Yes, you must take personal responsibility for your success, but that doesn't mean you should do it alone. Having a support system, whether it's friends, family, mentors, or a community of like-minded individuals, can make all the difference in staying consistent and overcoming obstacles. Tony Robbins, one of the most successful motivational speakers and life coaches in the world, often talks about the power of surrounding yourself with people who lift you up. The right people don't just support you when things are easy. They challenge you to grow, they encourage you when you're down, and they help hold you accountable. So, build your circle. Seek out people who will inspire you, who will push you to be your best, and who will celebrate your successes with you. And in return, be that person for others. A strong support system will keep you focused and motivated when things get tough. The role of gratitude and consistency. Here's another powerful tool I want you to add to your journey. Gratitude. I know, you've probably heard this before, but trust me, gratitude is a game changer when it comes to staying consistent and overcoming obstacles. When things aren't going your way, when obstacles feel insurmountable, it's easy to focus on the negatives. But cultivating a mindset of gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have. Gratitude helps you see the positives in every situation, even the tough ones. Research has shown that people who practice gratitude regularly are not only happier, but also more successful in achieving their goals. Why? Because gratitude keeps you grounded and positive, even in difficult times. It helps you stay focused on what's going well, which fuels your motivation and gives you the strength to keep going. So, every day, take a moment to reflect on the things you're grateful for. It doesn't matter how small. Maybe it's the opportunity to work towards your goals, the support of your loved ones, or even the fact that you're alive and able to pursue your dreams. Start every day with gratitude, and you'll find that obstacles become easier to overcome. Staying consistent when motivation wavers. Let's talk about motivation. It's a powerful force, no doubt. When you're motivated, it feels like nothing can stand in your way. But here's the catch. Motivation is fleeting. You won't always feel motivated. And when that happens, consistency is what will keep you moving forward. On days when motivation is low, remember, consistency beats motivation every time. Create routines and systems that don't rely on motivation. When you've built habits that are automatic, even on days when you don't feel like it, you can still follow through. One way to ensure consistency on tough days is to break tasks into smaller, more manageable actions. If you're feeling overwhelmed by a large project or goal, break it down into bite-sized pieces. Take one step, even if it's small. By taking consistent action, no matter how tiny, you'll build momentum that eventually leads to results. The finish line, staying on track. As we wrap up this chapter, I want to remind you of something important. Success is not about never facing obstacles. It's about how you respond to them. Life will throw challenges your way, and there will be days when you feel like giving up. But if you stay consistent, keep moving forward, and use obstacles as stepping stones, you'll get there. Don't measure your progress by how fast you go or how many times you've fallen down. Measure your progress by how many times you've gotten back up. Every time you choose to keep going, no matter the odds, you're moving closer to your goals. So stay consistent, stay focused, and remember, the only way to fail is to quit. Keep your eyes on the finish line and know that with every small step you take, you're one step closer to the life you want to create. Your next steps, keep going, no matter what. As you continue on this journey, commit to staying consistent, even on the tough days. Build routines that support your goals. Surround yourself with a supportive community. And remember, every obstacle is an opportunity to learn and grow. The road may not always be easy, but if you stay focused, consistent, and resilient, nothing can stop you from reaching your goals.